function that well. Anyway, reading social budgets and annihilating the welfare state was considered an easy option in this government spending review. The consequences will be devastating. We're already seeing what the effects of cuts locally. Yeah. There was an estimated £6 billion shortfall within the adult care budget, so that a gift of £2 billion over the next 4 years I consider quite an insult. Sick and disabled people will bear the brunt of these cuts. I myself have had periods when I've had to receive benefits because of illness, and I've also experienced degrading medical tests to determine if I could continue to receive the £40 or something I received a week. I was considered fit for work, although I didn't feel I was. So my incapacity benefit was stopped. This also meant that the assistance I was receiving in relation to obtaining work in the future was stopped. Fortunately, I had the wherewithal to appeal against this decision, and although for 5 months I was without my incapacity benefit, I did win my appeal. During that 5 months, I was fortunate enough to be able to rely on family and friends to bail me out. Just think of the devastation and the impact that these cuts are going to have on people already disabled, and the stress that they're going to feel. I know how I felt within those 5 months. I felt that they made me feel a fraud. I'm not a fraud. I worked for 20 years in social services. I worked my butt off, and then they dare to say that I couldn't have £40 a week. And now, as I said, I'm a full-time carer for my mum, and it may on the surface seem that pensioners came out quite well in the CPR, CSR. But believe you me, when you start and look at the services that they are going to be denied, when you experience how they're going to raise the eligibility criteria so that people who are now considered to have moderate or mild needs will be classed as not eligible for cuts with no subsidy. Unless you can pay privately, it's tough, tough, tough. Right, what else was I going to say? All I get as a carer is £55 a week. £55 a week for working, and I've got to prove the fact that I work at least 35 hours a week in caring duties. I would like to eventually work. I aspired as a single parent to obtain qualifications. Sadly, that opportunity is not going to be there for single families today. What aspirations have they got when childcare services are going to be destroyed or at least reduced? And people have to work now 24 hours to gain working tax credit instead of the 16. I don't know, but I feel that somewhere there's an agenda, and whether or not, people think that I'm perhaps stretching things, but I'm just wondering, these cuts have affected women. They've affected women more than men. There should be not one single cutting job. I'm not saying that it's about gender, but all the cuts are going to affect women. Women in admin, women behind the desk, in the police services, in the health services. It's women's jobs that are going to go first. I think it's absolutely appalling. It's the worst fight. It's the worst hatchet on equality for generations. And I myself, as a feminist in the 70s, am absolutely disgusted.